Good morning, everyone. My name is Somesh Pathak. I am Assistant Professor in the Department of Management Studies, Uttarakhand Open University. Today, we are going to cover the lecture on recruitment and selection, which is a part of human resource management. Now, starting with, now we'll start with the definition of what recruitment exactly means. It is the process of searching the places where prospective candidates will be made available for attracting and motivating them to apply for the required jobs in an organization and institution. So, what exactly recruitment means is it is a process we tend to search, or where the recruiters or the employees or the candidates tend to search for a particular job on the basis of their qualification. So it is that where the prospective candidates will be made available, like it's written on the screen, will be made available for attracting and motivating them to apply for the required jobs. What exactly happens in recruitment is we actually motivate the prospective candidates to apply for a particular job with respect to their qualifications and their interests, right? So what are the steps involved in the recruitment process? First is the recruitment planning, then strategy development, searching for the particular candidate, screening them, and then evaluating and control. Starting with the introduction. Now, what exactly a company is? So, company is known by the people and its employees, as it is rightly said. Human resource is the combination of quantitative and qualitative assessment of human beings in the society. So, what exactly human resource is? It just not only takes care of the quantity part of the human resource required in order to do a particular job, but also the quality of the human of a particular human resource being hired for doing a job, right? For example, it does not only mean that the number of people working in the organization, but it is also the employee skills, knowledge, ability, talents, aptitudes, and the creativity of a particular person involved, which helps them retain in an organization and helps the organization in order to achieve the productivity at its best. So the success and failure of an organization depends to an extent as to how much efficient, experienced, and capable employees are procured and recruited in an organization. Now, this recruitment forms the first stage in the process. Like if we give a job to a particular person, what exactly happens? How do we start is recruitment. It is the first stage in the process of hiring a person, which continues with selection and then ceases with placement of the candidate. Like you might have heard that when there is campus placement in a university, what happens is there is a banner of a company that is put up in a college campuses, and then common basic requirement that a candidate with this much GPA or this much percentage is allowed to sit in a particular profile. Now what happens is the candidates who are fulfilling that criteria will go and sit for that candidature, will nominate his candidature for the particular post. Now what happens is first the process is recruitment, then it follows with selection, and then the placement of the candidate is done. Now recruitment makes it possible to acquire the number and type of people necessary to ensure the continued operation of an organization, right? Whenever there is a vacancy in an organization, what happens is the recruitment process is conducted. Now, there are various methods of conducting recruitment. First is what you can say is when you can advertise it on the paper, or you can advertise it on the website, or you can participate in the job fair that happens almost in every city, every tier one city. For That's called job fair, like where people come and see what are the companies offering the job, and they apply as per their requirements and qualifications, right? So what happens? What exactly recruitment is? It is a process of searching and obtaining applicants for jobs from among the available recruits. What is the importance of recruitment? First is determining present and future requirements of an organization in addition with the human resource planning and the job analysis process. So what exactly human resource planning is? For example, so let me give an example. Like for suppose there is a company where 100 employees are working right now. Now, this might happen that some of the employees are not able to work, or might have or been offered a job from somewhere from the other competitors or some other company. They will leave the job, but who will do the job in their absence. So what happens is the company lists out the number of job vacancies they have, and then they go to various job portals, right? Determining their job description based on the job analysis they have done in the company so far. It determines the what is the present situation and the future requirements. If in case there is a few vacancy that is an upcoming one in an organization, it is also met by following the process of recruitment in an organization, right? Then enhancing potential job aspirants with minimal cost. Now it's just that you have to take care of the cost as well. You can't spend all your money in recruiting a person, right? You have to take that cost also into consideration, and you have to look for the potential job aspirants, like as per what your job description is, what your job specification is offering. Then you have to enhance. The recruitment helps in enhancing the potential of the job aspirants with minimal cost involved, and increasing the success rate of the selection process by reducing the number of underqualified or overqualified job applicants. Sometimes there is a job where only basic minimal education is required, but due to employment in the current scenario, people having more than the required qualification also apply. So what happens in the case of recruitment is they can apply at this stage, but at the later stage they will get to know that they are underqualified or overqualified for the job. So they will cancel the application, and only the minimal qualification or minimum qualified guy that is required for the particular job will be selected. Then it efficiently reducing the probability of job applicants getting selected and joining an organization, such that the attrition rates of is of not a concern in the long run. Like we talked about, like people having more than the required qualifications. What happens is when the job is of such a nature that where the qualification is not is a concern, and only minimal qualifications is required. So in that case, what happens is the person with highest qualification, the higher qualification, will not be able to enjoy. So the attrition rates will increase. Attrition means the rate at which an employee leaves the company. So in order to take that into consideration, and to take that point of concern while talking about an organization, the only that the efficient or the applicants that are being offered the job, or that are willing to to join an organization, such that attrition rates is not a concern in the long run. It is believed that the people who have been selected will not leave the job in the long run. Then the next one is identifying and preparing potential job applicants who will be appropriate candidates. Like we discussed in the previous point, that only those potential candidates who want to actually work for a profile will be given preference, and will be elected or will be selected for the potential job. Then supporting the basis of manpower development process and plan of an organization. Then the next one is, now we're talking about the stages of recruitment. First one is planning. The first stage in the recruitment process is planning. So what exactly planning is? It involves the translation of likely job vacancies and information about the nature of these jobs into a set of objectives, right? That is the targets that specify this number and type of applicants to be planned. First step in recruitment process is the planning. We have to plan, like what are the kind of job vacancies that are available in a company or an organization or an institution. Then the next step is followed thereafter. After planning, the second one is searching. Activation soon results in a flood of application. So what does it means is, if you have listed out your requirements of what kind of people do you need for a particular profile, then all you have to do is you have to activate the source. After planning, you have to activate the source, and then if the activation is well planned and a satisfactory job is done in developing your source in a particular manner or in the required manner, the activation soon results in a flood of application, that you'll not be left without a particular applicants being not able to apply for a job. There would be a number of applicants who are applying for the job, and then the result, or then the next step lies with the recruiter, with which person they have to hire their next for their vacancies. The second one is selling. In selling, both the message and the media deserve attention in the organization. Message, what does message refers? So message refers to the employment advertisements. For example, you might have seen the classifieds page or the page where the job vacancies come in the newspapers. There are many paragraphs, many headlines like we need a foreman, we need a lineman, a particular supervisor or manager is required for a particular job. So that is your message, right? The employment advertisement is the message, and the media refers to the source or the platform for any recruitment agencies. So here the media is your the paper, right? The newspaper, or if in case it is referred to the messages given through internet or through social media platforms or through social networking websites or via LinkedIn, Facebook. There are so many methods these days. So that is the process by which you sell your job, and you select or wait for the prospective customers or prospective candidates to apply for the job and buy that job. For example, employment exchanges. Employment exchange, actually, it's a kind of a government agency that takes care of your qualification. They keep a track of the qualification that you're having, and time to time they message you or they mail you if there are any vacancies as per your qualification. The third one is screening. The purpose of screening is to remove from the recruitment process at an early stage those applicants who are visibly unqualified for the job, right? So effective screening can save a great deal of time and money. Care must be exercised to assure that potentially good quality employees are not lost. Like there's a movie screening, okay? So what happens in the movie screening is, first the movie is screened or movie is shown to the people who matter the most to the movie makers, right? The movie is screened before coming it for the public. Movie is screened and shown to the authorities or to the people who actually matter the most, or who tell the actual how the movie is going to be for the public. Like so, what the same happens in the screening process. Okay, the people or the applicants who are visibly unqualified for the job, they are asked not to apply for it anymore, and they are asked to cancel or to look for another vacancy that is coming in the some other department or some other companies, right? And the fourth one is evaluation and control. So it is necessary as considerable costs are incurred in the recruitment process. So statistical information should be gathered and evaluated to know the suitability of the recruitment process. So talking of the sources of recruitment, there are two major sources of recruitment. First is internal sources, and the second one is external. When we talk about internal sources, there are a few which are listed on the screen. So let me discuss with you in a line or two what are these. First one is promotion, transfers, internal advertisements, retired employees, present temporary or casual employees, disabled, retired, dependents of the deceased and present employees, employee referrals. So if we talk about the internal sources, first one is promotion, right? So many of the vacancies in an organizations are basically filled by promoting a particular individual to the another job, right? So many organizations, what they do is they promote their internal staff to the next position to save on their costs. The second one is transfer. Like if there is a company which is having a departmental more than one department, or if they're having more than one plants on the different cities, and if they're having there are companies who are actually working in different cities or in different countries. So what they do is they internally transfer the employee from one city or to another, or from one department to another. So transfers can take place by interdepartment or intercity or intercountry, intercontinent. Transfers can be depending on the type of company a particular individual is working on. Then we have internal advertisements. There are many advertisements that does not come out of the company. That's called IJT, internal job transfer. Like the first one we discussed is transfer, that is called IJT, internal job transfer. And the third one is internal advertisements. So the advertisements are taken out and just posted inside the premises of a company, and then the people who want to actually look for some other kind of nature of job, if they wish to change, then they can apply for this kind of advertisement, and internally they can shift their from their one particular job to the other if the vacancy is there, and if they are able to qualify that criteria. Then sometimes what happens is retired employees are also given an opportunity, right? Some people working for a very high profile sometimes they get retired at a particular point. What happens is sometimes they are also hired back as consultants or as advisors to the company. So that also what happens is because they are actually they are abreast of the ideas of how and what is the vision and mission of a particular company. So hiring them back saves the company a lot of time and effort. The next one is present, temporary, or casual employees. Then disabled, retired, like we discussed in the early point, and dependents of the deceased and present employees. Then employee referrals. What happens is the management asks the employees actually working in the company to refer their known ones, the known ones for the requirement for the particular job referrals. The second one is external sources. Now, what exactly external sources means? Either the first one is private employment agencies, public advertisements, campus recruitment, professional organizations, recommendations, casual applicants, mergers and acquisitions, and e-recruitment. So, the first one is private employment agencies. You might have heard about the Naukri.com or Monster.com, Shine.com. What are these? These are private agencies which the recruiter of a company hires them, they pay them to find the potential candidate for their respective profile, right? Then we have public advertisements. Public advertisements, as the name suggests, the noting or the notification or the advertisement is basically published on the newspapers, on the magazines that is available locally for the people to see it. Then we have campus recruitment, like we call the campus placement. So obviously the first step starts through recruitment, so that's called campus recruitment also, where the company or a company goes to a particular institution or college or university, then they select the required people or the required candidates for their profile. Then we have recommendations. Sometimes recommendations can also come from outside the organizations, like people who are actually having uh, good hold in the market. They can also recommend some persons or some people for a definite job. Then we have casual applicants, like people can go to the gates of the company or people can roam and go directly to the company at the gate. They can submit their resume, and if their resume fits the requirement, they can also be called for interviews sometimes. Then we have mergers and acquisitions. Like what actually merger is when two companies combine together and they form a single entity with equal partnership. That is called merger in a basic sense. The second last point in external sources is mergers and acquisitions. When two companies merge, or when there is a 50-50% chances of one company acquiring the other, but the stake almost remains the same, that the process is called merger. And when a company is overtaken or taken by the other company with the majority, with the minority stake with themselves and the majority stake with the other company, that is called acquisition. What happens in this case is the people who are being acquired, or the other company who is being merged, the employees are working there are also taken into job. So that is called external sources, because the company who is being merged or the company that is being acquired right now, for the company that is the dominating one, for them the other company is the external part. The last one is e-recruitment. We'll discuss the e-recruitment in the coming slides. Talking of the internal sources, recruitment of employees from within the organization. What are the advantages of it? First is it saves time. Like if you have a job vacancy and you want that the person to start the job immediately. In internal sources, all you can do is, because the employee is right now available in front of you in the company, so it helps save you the time in which you have to hire the personnel. The second one is increase in employee morale. The person already working in the company, if being offered or if offered a higher position or the next position in which he is inclined to work on, it increases his morale of working in a company. Then the use of past experience. All that matters is when you're working in a company, the experience to work inside the company, to know the nature, to the nature or to know the environment of the company where the work is done. The past experience matters a lot. Then the proven cultural acceptance. Suppose if an employee is working in a company for the last 10 years, and all of a sudden he is being given a responsibility, or he's being promoted to the profile he has desired for. So what happens is he will open-handedly or open-heartedly will accept that job, and because he has accepted the culture so well that know that he won't be having any adjustments problem. So that is the advantage of hiring internally from an organization. Now, there are not only advantages, some disadvantages can also be there. First is it prevents entry of new candidates. Like if we keep on hiring people from inside the organization, we are losing on that chance of getting new candidates to the company. So like if we're losing on that chance of getting new candidates, we are losing on the new creativity, new ideas, right? The second one is limited candidate pool. Suppose if a company has 150 staff, and if you keep on hiring from internally qualified candidates, then now that you have a limited pool, only out of 150, suppose out of that 150 only 20 are qualified for that desired profile. All you have to do is now the problem arises. Sometimes the problem arises that your candidate pool is very limited, and you have to select the the employee for the new profile only from that 20 candidates. So that creates the pool to be very limited. Now, as we discussed in the first disadvantage, that the new talent is missed out if we are providing or preventing entry of the new candidates. Then the second last one is possibility of partiality. What happens is when we are working for a particular department, let's say for 3 to 4 years, we have our own biasness. Some employee or some manager is biased towards a particular individual with whom his engagement works. Now here what happens is if there is an internal vacancy coming out, now it might happen that the desired or the deserving candidate is not getting the job because of there might be a possibility of partiality, that the candidate that is favored by the employer is being given that particular job, right? The last one is it can also create competition among its own colleagues. Like suppose there are two candidates who are very well qualified for the desired job, and like we talked out in the second last point, that there is a possibility of partiality. Now, how can a competition be created amongst the colleagues? Like the person knows that a particular individual is qualified for that the desired job, but since there is a possibility of partiality, the other person gets the job. So that creates a mindset of competition amongst them, which is not good for the company in the long run. Talking of the external sources, what are the advantages? Right? Advantages. First one is it brings in new ideas. Of course, if you bring a new talent or bring a new employee overall from the market, the ideas or the type of work or the nature of work he brings into the table will be new. Then we have wider scope. Wider scope of hiring a person increases. Then expertise from other organizations. Of course, the person who is being hired would also be working in the other organization. So the nature, the type of work he would be doing over there, on the process, and the skills he might have developed will help the current organization where the person is being hired now. So his expertise will prove as a bonus point for an organization. Then there is less possibility of partiality and nepotism, as discussed, because the person is being hired externally. So the possibility of partiality reduces, and the question of nepotism comes to an end. Then there's no need to maintain confidential records, as the person who is being employed is a new one. Though the confidential records are no need to be maintained because the person has just joined the company, and to look into his confidential record from past the other company or because right now the person has joined you, you don't have his confidential records, so you know the rawness with which he's going to work with you. The next one is reflection of new outlook, new ideas. It's the same thing. So the person will bring with him the new energy, new kind of work life scenario. So these are the advantages of external sources. Now this also has some disadvantages. First, like we talked in the internal sources, that it saves you time and money. Here the case is a little different. It can be costly and time consuming at the same time, right? Then longer transitioning period. An employee, if an employee is joining in an organization, what happens is it a person takes time to adjust to the current scenario. Like if a person is working has been working in a company for the last 4 to 5 years, joining the company and getting accustomed to the culture or to the environment this current company is offering, it takes some time, which will hamper the productivity, which will hamper the which hamper the colleagues and then the traditional training process, because the employee is new one. So the training costs will increase, and because the person does not know, suppose a person does not know about a particular process that is being carried out in a in the current company, so what happens is additional training would be required. So training will incur, or training will comprise of the cost being employed and the time being employed to for him to understand what is the process the current company is working on. Now, what kind of recruitment does 2024, or in the current scenario, what is the recruitment that is the kind of is being offered or is being referred to? The first one is e-recruitment, right? Technology has taken such a step that without technology, the hiring of individuals and hiring of candidates has become almost close to impossible now, right? Word of mouth kind of hiring and using technology to hire a new tech savvy web based new employee has turned out the whole generation or the whole outlook of hiring a particular individual in a new manner, right? So using technology or the web based tools to assist the recruitment processes. The assistance can be either through a job website like Naukri.com, Monster.com, Shine.com, etc. Facilities such as organizations or institutions' corporate website or its own internet or intranet. Social networking websites such as Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn also serves the purpose of connecting a prospective job seeker to the desired employers. Then forwarding emails. Many big and small organizations are using internet as a source of recruitment. Online recruitment helps the organizations to automate the recruitment process, save their time and costs, right? And the last one is ATS, that is called Applicant Tracking System. So what this software does is it is basically for recruiters or the employers to track candidates throughout the recruiting on the hiring process. So once an employee has uploaded his resume on this software, the recruiters have all the track to how to engage with the candidate, how to attract, or how to efficiently keep track of where the employee is, if whether he's interested in a particular job or not. So this software is equipped with capabilities like from creating a simple data pool to a full service suite of tools that makes it easy for businesses of any size to filter, manage, and analyze the candidates in an effective manner. And how does it do it? First is it source and attracts the qualified candidates. Second, it increases the candidate engagement in a particular profile. Third, it improves the efficiency and lowers the cost. Fourth, it creates stronger job description. Mind you, this is very important. If we are trying to attract a prospective candidate, the job description has to be very clear, precise, and concise, so that the prospective candidate just goes through a job description and is able to actually identify what is the kind of work he has to do, or what is the kind of work the particular job entails. The second one is improves the visibility of the seeker. Suppose I am a job seeker and I want to apply for a particular profile. If I go through this applicant tracking system and if the recruiter is taking care of my or taking care of my profile through this ATS system, it improves my visibility because that's a premium service I'm taking. So and the last one is it timely connects and continuity of both the parties, right? So the connection or the timely connection or timely connect of the seeker and the giver, here the continuity of both the parties is maintained for a longer time, till the time employee gets what he wants or till the time employer get what the company wants. Okay, so this is the part where we discuss about the basic details of recruitment. Now in the next lecture we will cover the follow-up part of the recruitment, that is the selection part. Okay, thank you so much.